Prof, I want you to finish up on the question of the genetic modification process that you are partly remaining with. Then once we are done, I'll be able to pick up on the point of the county aggregation centers and how we can value add the food that we are producing at the moment. Please proceed.
Thank you. I think we need to understand what is a GMO and how is it done.
Okay.
There is nothing very new about GMO apart from just realizing that anything that is alive has in its central of the cells has DNA. This is like the motherboard. And what it means is that the technology that we currently have is that the DNA can be sequenced so that you get to know what is available, what section of this DNA is responsible for what. For instance, you'll realize other people are, susceptible to certain diseases, others are not. It could be because of genetic, variations. But more importantly, what we do as genetic engineers, we look at, for instance, if there is maize, we know maize cannot grow in a droughty environment.
Okay.
But when you go to a desert environment or in the desert, you will find that there are other plants that are growing there. You will find sisal, for instance, or cactus and all that. They are growing. And how we wish as genetic engineers that when maize is not growing and there is cactus or sisal, human beings will start eating sisal. Because if that was possible and it's easy, then we don't have a problem. Because let me tell you something that is very obvious, that at any given time in this world, there is usually enough food somewhere. If we are able, the world produces enough. Okay. And the problem is something else about distribution, and there are more experts here who can talk about that. What we then do as genetic engineers, we identify, yes, now there is a grass, for instance, that grows in a drought environment, and it does so well because it can survive that. So what do we do as genetic engineers? Grass is already being eaten by cows anyway, so it's not toxic. So the DNA that is in there is not toxic, and if so, our cows will all die. So you identify the section of the DNA that is responsible for drought tolerance. That is what you move to maize. Both of them are monocots, and therefore maize becomes drought tolerant. It could just be root elongation, it could be thicker leaves, or more other traits that we have. But before I conclude, there are a few things that we need to say because it will help us with the demystification. Okay. You will hear this statement that GMOs seeds don't germinate, and therefore we are going to be reliant to depending on these multinationals. They will tell you that GMOs cause infertility and impotence, very serious things. Okay. The GMO causes cancer, GMO is foreign. Breast development. Breast development. And I can tell you, Ayub, and I'm glad that you are saying that, if it is true that GMOs cause breast development, you will not afford it as a country. The kind of investment that our ladies go through to develop their breast and make them firm and all these things is you cannot afford. And I can tell you, if GMOs really cause infertility and impotence, then you will not afford it as well. Because what will we do? We will package it and sell it as drugs. Because contraceptives, we are here, many men who have had enough of their kids and they don't want any more kids. You only need to eat GMO and it stops you from having kids that you don't want. So we must be very careful when we talk about some of these things. GMO seeds, I want to say, germinate. Okay. And sometimes I think we actually as a country enjoy a lot more of rumor. Probably the reason why, comedy and some of these, crazy, tabloids are really becoming popular. Yeah. For instance, if they are saying that GMO seeds don't germinate, and I can tell you in this country, at Kenyatta University, we are the only universities in Central Africa that make GMO here locally. And in this country we have 4 other labs. We have Kelro, we have Kefi, we have Isipe, and also in Rebecca and Kenyatta University. Those are the only 4 labs. Now, why can't the media, and this is a challenge, come to Kenyatta University, we give you GMO seeds. Let them bring the organic one, plant them, monitor, see whether they germinate or not. Because they do germinate, it is a fallacy. And if they say something about that, and this is also another one, that who is funding GMO research and all that. And I ask them, even right now, our president recently was just in China trying to negotiate with that country and how do we get development here. So when did it become really this chaotic that if you get funding from Bill and Melinda Gates, now we become it's all fallacy.
Okay, thank you. And the question of multinationals, I mean, this is an avenue in the media, and as professionals we bear that responsibility to hear